Hey everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to start our lesson one of the Healthy Relationships unit. I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. So let me get to where I share my screen and we'll get started. So here we have a PowerPoint, and like I said, it's Unhealthy Relationships, lesson one. Um, so we'll start off here. So the vocabulary words we're going to cover today are communication, relationship, body language. Communication is the clear exchange of ideas and information. Relationship is a connection you have with another person or group. And body language is facial expressions, eye contact, gestures, and posture. In this lesson, you'll learn to explain different ways people communicate. You'll be able to describe how you can be a better speaker and listener, be able to identify the three styles of communication, and you'll be able to develop skills to communicate safely online. So what is communication? Successful communication is at the root of a healthy relationship. Again, it's the clear exchange of ideas and information, and relationship, again, is a connection you have with another person or group. So different ways we communicate. The main way people communicate is through language. That's like talking and everything. Another way we communicate is through body language, which again is facial expressions, eye contact, gestures, and posture. Uh, these ways that we communicate include face-to-face, telephone, written messages, email, text messaging, sign language. Now we're doing Zoom meetings, and we have, you know, uh, Skype and all that stuff. So we can kind of be face-to-face without actually being face-to-face, to keep our social distancing. Um, Ways we can communicate safely online. You can make sure that a parent or guardian gives you permission to communicate with others online. Never give out information about yourself or your family. Stay out of unsupervised chat rooms. Never agree to meet anyone in person. And if an online conversation makes you feel uncomfortable, exit and tell a person or other adult. A parent or other adult. So there's advantages and disadvantages to different types of communication. When we talk on the phone or send email, sometimes visual clues such as facial expressions are absent. That's why, in text messaging, they include emojis and things like that so that you can kind of put a facial expression with a comment you're making so that way the person hopefully can understand it the way that you meant it. But we know that gets mistaken a lot. So when we're talking about using good communication skills, there's two parts of this. So we're sending information when we communicate, and we're also receiving information when we communicate. So when we're sending, it's called outbound. Some skills that you can have are think, then speak. That way you know what you're saying is the way you intended to say it. You're not just, uh, speaking quickly and maybe causing problems with people because you're saying things that you didn't mean to say, or you said it in a way that you did not mean to say it. Use iMessages. iMessages are important because especially when you're communicating with somebody that you disagree with, it takes the ownership off of them and puts it on yourself. So rather than saying, you always get angry when I, do this or whatever, it would say, I feel, that my message does not come across well, or, if you say, you never let me choose the restaurant, you could say, I feel like I should be allowed certain opportunities to choose the restaurant and things like that, and that would help those relationships go a long way. Make clear and simple statements, be honest with your thoughts and feelings, and use appropriate body language. Inbound or receiving information, listen actively. That means not only just hear what they're saying, but to ask questions after they've said what they're saying, to mirror their thoughts and feelings. Use appropriate body language rather than sitting back with your arms crossed and kind of looking around or whatever. You can kind of lean in, be engaged, make sure they understand that you're listening. And then before you speak again, wait your turn. Make sure that they've totally gotten their point across and they feel comfortable with what they had to say before you speak your turn. There's three communication styles that most people have. You have an aggressive communicator. They might say things that are rude or loud, just negative. You might have a shy or what we call passive communicator. They may say very little or nothing at all. They may feel uncomfortable speaking their piece or taking their turn, sharing their thoughts or emotions. And we have an assertive communicator who isn't shy or aggressive, but they're willing to express themselves, and it's usually in an appropriate way. So aggressive can be very negative because a lot of times, again, you're going to cause issues with someone else. Shy can be problematic because you may never feel like you're getting to say your part, and maybe it might be your choice to do that, but there's a lot of, you might hold a grudge, or you might, just kind of feel like you never have an opportunity to share. And so an assertive person is going to speak up, they're going to be confident, but they're not going to do it in a rude or condescending way. So that's the way we want to be, is assertive, not aggressive or shy. All right, so that's the end of that part of the lesson. So I will stop sharing my screen for a moment. There's me again. One more thing, I thought it would be fun. I'm going to go ahead and show you a video that I found. I got to share my screen one more time. I found this video, and I thought it would be fun to watch it because it's one person is using only nonverbal communication while the other one is trying to decipher what they're having to say. So have a look.
Good morning, sir. What can I get started for you today? What time? All right. Green and 2 months. A wheelchair for the sister.
All right, so there you have what I thought was kind of a funny video. It's, you got the Eddie Murphy character is not using words for whatever reason. I have not seen this movie, but he's using only his hand gestures and his facial expressions to try to get his point across. And you've got the other character who is, trying desperately to figure out what message is he trying to send me. And he's not doing a very good job, obviously, but it shows how when you use one style of communication only, how some of the message can be lost. In this case, he used nonverbal only, so he's using hand gestures and facial expressions without using words, and that was obviously very hard. A lot of times, like we said, in text messaging and things like that, we can state the message, so we're using the verbal cues, or if we're on the phone and they can't see our facial expressions or hand gestures, body language, and all that, a lot of times our message can get lost in that way too, because sometimes we'll make a joke, or sometimes we'll say something very matter of factly, and it can come across as rude or aggressive or not funny. And when they don't get our facial expression or our body language included in that, they can't know that we're just joking, or whatever it was that the message we were trying to send. So it's important to utilize all those skills. Um, what I want you to do for your homework, I want you to go into the comments in the YouTube video, uh, and I want you to comment about a time when the message you tried to send kind of got lost, whether it was through talking face to face, whether you were texting, whether you were, on the phone, whatever it may be. I want you to, and don't use names. Don't say I was talking to my mom and this happened, because then, mom might get upset, or I was talking to my friend so and so and this happened, because same thing. So rather than use names, just say the situation. So at one point I was saying this, what I meant was this, and but this is the way they misunderstood it, and here's why. So just give a little brief time that you had like a miscommunication with somebody and explain why and maybe how using these skills that we talked about today could have helped. So, all right, well, that was our lesson for today. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.